I'm just turtling. They're so busy, like I was like 5 years ago, like I know you guys are both like it's so you
Many changes will take a lot of time.
social. Dark day. Okay. Sundays are dark. I'm watching the fights tonight, so that might get a little rowdy. Yeah.
All right.
Oh man, I'm so pumped. No idea.
Yeah, you're going to see it?
I'm going for it. I'm really going to fight. That's it. I don't care who wins. It's gonna be good.
But even when it's
You didn't get a chance for your snack? Oh, okay, good, good.
I think it might be I got a long way.
Oh, yeah.
As we talked about earlier. Huh? I know. As we talked about earlier, not everybody wants to get counseling because they feel that it's a shame or uncomfortable talking about difficult things. But what was another most important thing for not wanting to get help? Anybody?
They're afraid to disclose.
Yes.
And they're afraid of judgment.
Mm.
They don't want to judge. They have a problem to open up. And there is the fear of somebody may not understand them and or simply judge them.
And
Maybe the fear of getting better.
you know what? A lot of times they don't think there was a problem
That's true.
because they were immersed in that situation. And that's the way life is.
It becomes their normal.
Yes, it is normal. And, you know, like the problem with abuse, and that's, well, that is life, and that's normal, and I can deal with it. I'll take it. So what would happen if they take that stand? I have a family with 2 young girls, and the girls at school were isolated. They were bright children. And also, they don't participate in any activities. They have no social life. And in class, they do not contribute. And so they could be identified as ADHD because their minds were not there. And when they went out there, they would not associate with anybody except for their cousin or the sister. So when the parents went to see the teacher and said, well, they are not functioning, so they spent big bucks getting diagnosis and all the reports, about 40 pages for the 2 of them. And then what do I see is not the individual children, but what kind of environment were they raised? So then I found out that one child 3 nights stay with the grandparents and 3 nights stay with mom and dad. And then the younger child stayed at home. And so you see the situation is very different. And the mother worked double time, had no time to do a lot of relating to the girls. And then also the father's busy. So in a situation like this, they don't think they had a problem, but they do. They know that they're not comfortable. They're not relating. They're not communicating. In a situation like this, where do you begin? Where do you begin?
With the parents.
Hmm?
With parents. The most, because if this is the situation, the influence of parents when it comes to the children. So the parents is the.
We provide them with a secure home. They have meals regularly. They were delivered to school probably every day. What's wrong? I'm busy making money so that they have good clothing, they have good meals, they go to, music lessons. What's wrong? We both are hardworking couple.
So perhaps psychoeducational, like share with parents what children do need in terms of nurturing or connection, attachment. Yeah, I think.
And I'm home a lot of times. Right? I work at home too, but they are here, and they got grandparents to look after them too.
Do they spend time with their children?
Well,
One-on-one.
well, they don't need me. They play with each other and the cousin.
But that is the emotional aspect. It's the emotions. So they probably not aware of how the impact is from the emotional point of view, the interaction parent-child.
Well, I'm getting close to them, but I don't know anything about school. And I could get them a tutor.
But you cannot tutor emotions and love and care. You cannot tutor this.
How much more can you ask of me? They're well provided for.
So can I just ask a clarification question? So I just want to make sure I'm understanding the situation. So the children at school are just not engaging with other children.
That's right.
Okay. So okay. I have to keep thinking because I don't know if it has to do with the home so much as what it's like how are the children. I guess I'm curious as to understand the kids' experience at school.
The social experience.
Like that social experience at school, because maybe home is very safe and very nurturing and very caring and they're fed and things, but maybe there's something going on in the school that and maybe
The teacher tried to pair them up and give them, relationship with another child and activities to do, but they just isolate themselves and they just kind of sit there.
Sounds like they're having a lot of interaction with adults also instead of children.
Hmm?
They're having more interaction with adults as opposed to with children.
No, they stay by themselves.
How old are they?
And about 6, about 10.
Maybe they just don't know how.
I mean, they don't have any friends at home, do they?
It's
That's what I'm
indicative
saying,
of
interaction with
something
adults and
wrong.
not with children.
Yeah, you're right. They don't know how. Now, where did they get that knowledge? How do they do it? I mean, how would you advise the mom or the dad?
Relationship, fine. It's about building relationship with them outside of being a parent. Understanding their thoughts, their feelings. You know, it's not about providing for the physical. It's about playing with them, watching a movie with them, cuddling, going into their rooms, whether individually, collectively, just being there with them, talk to them, hear their frustrations when there's nobody at school to play with, when they're just annoyed at a teacher or at a...
So you are asking the mother to do all that?
No, they have to create opportunities for them to relate to kids their own age as well, right?
Right.
Outside of school.
A mom would say, I took them to Sunday school, and they don't relate.
Allow them to bring kids home. If
Oh, that's impossible because we're so busy.
Yeah, I need that.
Well, we need to pay for mortgage, we need to pay money, and then we pay for music lessons.
Do the parents even so I think my question to you then, Ms. Lillian, would be, okay, fair enough, but what do you think you would be able to give considering that this is a situation? Because everything I'm saying so far doesn't seem to work. Is there?
I was brought up the same way.
Right. So that's the relationship, right? You don't know how to teach kids social skills, say, because you never learned it, then that could be a real issue.
And I survived.
Of course.
Different.
So then, in that case, do the parents even see how their children engage in the school as a problem? If they look at it as, well, that's how I was raised, do they even see that behavior? The school might see it as problematic because that's the culture of that might be the majority culture, right? Like, the assumption is when you're at school, you interact with everybody, but if the parents don't see that as a problem, you're going to be beating up against, like, and you're working with the parents, you're never going to be able to engage the parents. The parents are like, that's not a problem. That's how they are. That's how I was raised. That's how my parents were raised. And it's that cultural piece. So it's
See, a lot of times they don't go for help because they don't know there is a problem. That's the way they were raised, and therefore, what's wrong? So how do you make them realize that children need more than, and how, society has changed. They need to be more relational. They need to feel more comfortable with themselves. And you know what some of the kids would do? Computer games, all day, all night. Or reading, imagining, so then they are relating. Now, is there anything wrong with that?
Not all day. I mean, there's nothing wrong with reading, and there's nothing wrong with playing computer games, but not necessarily.
That is the only thing I will do from morning till night, is reading those books or playing games. And
I feel like right now, like I'm kind of imposing my ideas onto somebody else. Like, if a parent is that way, then that's the way they are. And if the problems are at school, then I would think that the solution would be to deal with some of those issues in the school environment as best you can. I wouldn't want to impose those are my ideas, like that children need to have a lot of.
What about like adaptive behavior focusing on that, and are they learning enough adaptation skills? Are you capable of, if they're not learning it from school, are you capable of teaching them so that you're preparing them for success in life?
how do we overcome the reluctance to utilize counseling and mental health services? There are many of those out there. I was fortunate to get hold of that family or other families, similar families, because the school started to question about the mental health, social skills, and academic productions of the children. When school started to question, the school started to demand, then parents started to move. When they come to you, we are fine. It's only the school that got the problem, right? So how do you deal with that? You don't know the background. You just got the referral because the kids are not productive, the kids are not socializing, because the school required the children to get some counseling. Okay? It's not what we consider fine.
So I think, I mean, obviously, like, you have to start the assessment. You know, just to assess the whole situation, assess the family dynamics, assess the cultural, you know, norms within that family, and trying to understand, like, why is it okay? So just, you talked about some of that coming from the generations and whatnot. We are okay, we're doing all we can. So if we, and then I think the step 2 would be some kind of, you know, psychoeducation, because if we're going to look at, well, we're biased, you know, psychosocial beings, and yeah, fine, biologically they may be okay in your eyes, you know, psychologically you think that you're providing for them spiritual, but this is also an aspect of their health that's also critical. So maybe it has to start with educating them about this big picture, you know, and hope that they will, see that it's not just a school problem, and potential consequences if it remains that way.
Mm-hmm. So how do you use yourself to inject yourself into that situation?
Unfortunately, I would have to say that for me, I would have to refer. I work with 16 and up, so I would have to refer them to the Algoma Family Services, which has a program called Strengthening and Building Healthy Families. So they could go to a psychoeducational workshop or class and learn about that with other parents, and they have dinners together, and they work with spend time with the kids, and they spend time with the parents.
So you recommend some agency, some program that they can go and participate?
That would be away from school.
Away from school, including the parents?
Yeah, their parents are included.
And the parents said, we don't do things together.
With each other, the parents.
Isn't that a hint?
Yeah, it is.
I think, you know, all of those things are going through my mind. Plus, if the reason for this family coming and opening up to some extent is school,
yes,
you know, probing what's important to the parents and what do they want for their children, because it sounds like for the family it's important that the kids do well at school. Yeah. And so I'd also, referring is a great one, but for Toronto, the waiting list for stuff is about a year, I think. Mm-hmm. So, you know, looking for what could I connect with the family that's important to them for the kids.